Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Star Wars New Canon Book Club Mandalorian Episode 5.
I like it. That was a cool one. You kind of took Grief Karga's like vibes, his energy, and you channeled it. I liked it.
Thank you.
He's like,
Mando! This one was kind of like Episode 2. And if you liked Episode 2 or you liked the vibe, you probably love this one. And if you didn't, you're probably like the internet.
out of curiosity, what do you mean by that?
Well, in that it was a sort of, I don't want to say standalone. It was its own contextual, like, boop. It has a name in the film industry. I just don't know what it is because I'm old fart.
Yeah.
It's a bottle cap.
A bottle episode.
That's what it
Sort
is,
of,
a bottle
yeah.
episode.
No, well, bottle episodes are normally episodes that take place in like a single or very few location. You like do them after an episode that uses a lot of budget to save a lot of budget, and it's usually where you get a lot of really good character work.
It's like,
and so I would say this is definitely not a bottle episode.
So yeah, okay, so it's not that. This is a Creature of the Week episode.
Yeah, this is like
better?
just your
Freak of the
standard Samurai Jack ass Mandalorian hijinks.
I thought it was more like the fourth episode than the second episode, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you mean by that?
It's like a standalone, self-contained. It's another like full movie done as like a 35-minute episode.
Gotcha.
I have a suspicion about this show, which is that almost always this is what it's going to be.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys liked it. I'll just get out of the way right now. I really dislike this episode, but not for its standalone nature, more for the performances and the shortcuts they took with the script and kind of what I see as sort of being lazy with being like, look, it's Tatooine, so we're gonna have hopefully that distract you from what I see as gaping holes in the episode.
That is the big internet kerfuffle right now, which is essentially a lot of people see this as the worst one, and because of the reasons you mentioned.
That is so crazy to me.
Of course, Alex loves it. But what I think is fascinating is that, to me, this episode read very much like watching a Clone Wars episode.
Yeah.
And if you dug the Clone Wars, then, like, you'll dig this. And if you don't, then you won't. I think there was a lot of neat stuff in this episode, and as a big nerd, I was like, oh, shit! There was something missing from it. I just can't figure out. And I don't know if it's because the two big story beats were real quick. Like, and I get because they only have enough, like, short amount of time, but the sidekick and then the villain, air quotes, were, like, over real quick. It was wild to me, but I guess that's because of the nature of the show.
I'm glad I watched it twice, because the first time I watched it, I just wasn't happy and wasn't looking in the good into it, and then I watched it again, and I'm like, all right, there's still a lot of cool stuff, and what I really wish that if they're gonna do 35-minute episodes, maybe do a two-parter.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what they were getting at here would have made a great two-parter. It had like the skeleton, but it needed more connective tissue and meat between stuff. It was just like a series of, here's the setup, here's the twist. It was all the like highlights with none of the middle bits. And that's what made me never give a shit about what I'm gonna call the fuckboy for the rest of this episode.
Yeah,
because
I think the episode was...
That's all that guy is.
A lot of really cool moments, and a lot of like, oh, that visually is neat, or it's fast.
The sniper battle, that whole thing was like so cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool things.
That was like
here.
some Metal Gear Solid shit or something.
But there was a lot. Yeah, you're right. The meat wasn't there, and that's the thing disappointed me about the episode. But I actually kind of like, even though it wasn't mentioned, I think it was hinted at that this world is very not friendly to Imperials. But what I love is the idea that maybe, just maybe, everyone's aware that Luke Skywalker, hero of the rebellion, came from Tatooine. So Tatooine's like, yo, F them Imperials.
They gotta be like super pro. Yeah, pro.
I think that's dope.
And I think that's the thing with this. It definitely feels like Star Wars, but I think most people out there weren't looking for a story that had like pit droids and like ham-fisted fan service. Somebody like Amy Sedaris' character who's doing like a different era of Star Wars, like not taking it super realistic with her acting choices. You know what I mean? Like,
I love her as an actress, but boy, anytime that she had to act with the droids or with Baby Yoda, it was like, oof. It felt like you're in like acting 101 class.
I totally read it as like an on-purpose melodramatic performance, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you for sure what it was. But to me, that was the difference in tone that I think a lot of people weren't feeling here. Like, even from the very beginning, like, the first thing the Mando says in this episode is like super...
Oof. Yeah, the opening sequence. Because he's like, I can bring you in warm or bring you in cold. And he's like, that's my line.
Yeah. This was like the Adam West Mandalorian. You know what I mean? Like that's what I got from it going in. And that's watching it that way.
Very
That's
Clone Warsy. Very Clone Warsy. Dialogue, everything.
But aside from that, all of the Mandalorian's other dialogue is completely like keeping with how often or not often he speaks. Like he didn't do bits. He was consistent, except for that line is like, yeah.
It's just the whole script is very melodramatic is what I am trying to get at, is that it just has this, here's what you're gonna do. That is what I'm gonna do. Like, it had a very old-fashioned TV vibe to me.
Well, should we just go through it?
Yeah. Opens dead cold with just like space chase sequence with like,
I think our first the space like fight?
Starfighter battle?
Yeah, which is, I was wondering when that was gonna happen.
very mouthy, confident guy. I thought it was Bill Burr's character at first going into this.
No.
I was like, oh, it's right away Bill Burr, but it like wasn't even him. He did kind of like a almost like Poe Dameron-esque little trick to outfox him. He like is almost gonna get bopped. He does that thing where like your ship gets plot armor for like 5 seconds and he takes like 1,000,000 hits. But like that's fine, it's fun. And then breaks hard and lets the guy pass him and like trips him up. And the Razor Crest,
I love that ship,
lives to fight another day. And he takes it down and it's like Mos Eisley Spaceport. And immediately I was like, what? Because not only is it the first time that you're like seeing a place that's definitely from Star Wars, but it's also the first time that they say almost any names of any places in any meaningful way in the whole show.
Sure.
And that was wild. And it also, they talked about that the other planet is called Navarro.
Yep.
By the way. The planet with all the Mandos on it, which I don't know if we talked about that before or not. I remember we were asking about it at the very
We
least.
never knew what planet it was, but yeah, this is the first time they said the name.
Yeah. We land and we meet Peli Motto, who is Amy Sedaris, who I had no idea was in the show. Rocking kind of like
They continue their one comedian per episode streak.
She's like 100% Ripley.
Yeah, she's
her whole
rocking
vibe.
a Ripley vibe, but she's also doing like a very... It's a character that you don't see in sci-fi these days, who was definitely there in like 1975. Basically, she's like, you have a lot of fucking problems with your ship. It's gonna cost a lot. Look at it. You are flying a piece of trash. And you can kind of tell that she's one of those people who's, you get, she's like very nice, she's very honest, and she is gonna do a good job, but she's serious about getting paid. So he's like, here's the money that I have now, which is like a meager amount that he has left over after everything. And she's like, all right, well, I'll get started with this. And he's like, don't worry, I'll get a fucking job. And so that's when he leaves Yoda on the ship, Baby Yoda, that is, not the dead old Yoda. Leaves him on like a little elf on a shelf, baby shelf that he has.
Like locks him in.
Changing station that he has aboard the Razor Crest. In the unisex bathroom, which, it's good.
It makes sense. They always worry about foundlings and shit. They got to be prepared for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's all
Right.
these different little hoses for all the different dicks. It's a good bathroom. And so he's tucked in. Basically, he leaves him there, and he's like, I'm going to go get a job. I can't remember what happens first, but the Mandalorian leaves and goes to the cantina, and then also the Baby Yoda gets up and comes out and hangs out with Amy Sedaris' character, and she's like, okay, I'm going to take care of you because I'm nice, but I'm going to charge...
But also I want to get paid.
Yeah, I'm going to charge
Yeah.
Mando for babysitting because this is bullshit that I'm taking care of a baby right now while I'm fixing the ship and none of my droids can help me. She gets to work. We're at the Mos Eisley Cantina for the first time in a long time. There's no... the policies have changed. It used to be a very racist place against droids.
There are droids behind the bar.
Yeah, now there's droids behind the bar.
And there's droids tooting around. There's like an R5. And then the same kind of, the torture droid from Jabba's
Yeah.
palace is there. Different voice. But I kind of want to think that like after this, he had to just like get a job. And he's like, well, I used to torture people. Now I make drinks. This is my lot in life.
Or that type of droid is a bartender droid normally.
Either he wanted to be a bartender or he was a bartender and became like a torturer.
You're
Both work.
thirsty little one. It's the worst joke I've ever made. Good Lord. So he's like, I'm looking for work, and the bartender's like, just so you know, the guild doesn't work on Tatooine anymore. And he's like, I'm not looking for guild work. And he's like, I can't help you. And then fuckboy Majones is like, I can help you. And he turns over, and it's this dude sitting in Han Solo's chair like, I'm the new Han Solo, but he looks like a fuckboy from Jump Street, like a Disney Channel original.
He's got that little like one ear pierced like Harrison Ford too, which maybe just be me reading
modern
into
day
it.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's name is Toro Calican, named after the most delicious part of the tuna. Do we hate this guy because he's a bad actor and doesn't do the part well? Or do we hate this guy because he was cast because he exudes fuckboy energy and
Both.
turns out to be a fuckboy?
There are, I think column A and column B, there are a couple moments, and that's why I'm like, damn, if you had gotten a little better actor and like given this more time.
I don't think he was an amazing actor in terms of like his line readings, but the casting director nailed this part. But he's like, hey, I got a job, and he's basically like, I got a puck right here. I can't do the job, but I'm trying to get into the guild. So if you can beat this person, I would love to have you. You can have all the money. I don't care. I just want to get in the guild. And the puck is for somebody called Fennec Shand.
Great name.
A Fennec
Great Star
is a
Wars
desert
name.
fox, which is perfect for this character. And apparently this is like a super elite mercenary assassin person who's known for killing people that are going to chase her.
Question, was she an Imperial?
She might...
No, she was a hitman for the crime syndicates, they said.
Okay.
Maybe she's like a deserted Black Ops Imperial assassin, something like that.
That's what I'm
They
saying.
don't,
I
they
felt
don't
like
ever
a little
say
Imperial.
that she's Imperial, though.
No,
So
it's just like, if you just look at her, it's just...
The way
yeah.
she looks, like her vibe, seemed very Imperial.
Could be, could be.
But the thing, the takeaway here was at first he was, the fuckboy was like, yeah, I am in the guild. Yep. He was like fronting, and then, the Mandalorian is like, you don't know anything clearly because this is like an elite mercenary, and then he's like, wait, I help me please, I really want to be in it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you can have all the money, and then he's like, okay, well, get me a speeder and come here, and then he's like, give me the fob, and then he does that shit where he destroys it.
I don't know why he
because-
destroyed it.
You know how in movies where you're like, oh, you need to keep this guy, like otherwise he's expendable, so he does something so that, okay, now you can't get rid of me, like you need me now.
Right, yeah, I get what he was doing.
He made himself indisposable.
He did like a dumb rookie thing, yeah. But he takes the money because he needs the work on his ship done. So, he takes it right away. He gets back to the ship. Baby Yoda's not where he left him. He freaks out. And she's like, whoa. Here's the deal. You don't know shit about taking care of kids. You still need to learn a lot. You can't just like leave a baby around, which, it kind of makes sense. It's kind of like trying to drive the character notch forward a little bit, that the Mando is seriously considering the idea of being a parent to this kid a little bit now.
And
the way
he just
they
doesn't
talk.
know how to do anything about it.
Yeah. And you can tell that Mando is fine with this. She takes like an extra long time to do the repair because he doesn't want her to use any of the weird comedy droids that she has. So then they all walk out. She walks out with them because Toro Calican needs to be able to have seen
the Baby
Yoda for a second so that what happens later can happen. But basically...
And he has swoop bikes, which is great.
And then they take off on horseback, aka swoopback, and it's like the tightest song since Red Dead Redemption 1.
It's so good. It's the best part of the episode.
Yeah.
The weird thing was they mostly nailed the effect of the swoop bike. There were some shots that looked like pretty yikes, but there were a couple. The shot of them going from the side where it's close up, it's like two choppers.
That whole sequence was super cool. I loved the like cowboy thing. So they take the bikes and they get to this like zone where they have to rest for a little while.
They just pull over because there's some Tusken Raiders.
Oh yeah, they find the Raiders who
Actually, this scene was like my favorite scene, especially
very
on
cowboy,
rewatch.
very good.
He's just like, look at that. There are these guys, and he's like, oh, I've heard about these guys. They're the locals say that they're a nuisance, and he's like, to them they are the locals. And then he's like, whatever. I'm gonna talk shit about them.
Very
And he's
Western.
Like, and then he's like, okay, why don't you just tell them right now? And then it does feel like the Native American cowboy relationship sort of here.
Yeah.
And then there's just like a respectful, cool sign language bartering scene where I'm like, cool, this is great.
Exact opposite of the dickhead Jawas.
Yes.
He's like, just give me your binoculars. And he's like, what? These are new binoculars. And he's like, not anymore.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, they
give
were.
them to him. So they go and they find a dewback. And the dewback has a dead guy on the dewback, who I also thought was going to be Bill Burr.
You thought he'd be like comedy fuck up bounty hunter?
I thought they were going to go try and like loot his body and he was going to be like, I'm alive. But that's not what happened. It's a dewback dragging a dead body. It has some money on it and stuff. And they're like, what the fuck is this? Because they figure it's another person with a fob who went to go take out Fennec. But
Yeah, they weren't sure if it was like Fennec or somebody else.
Right.
And then when they flip over the body, the tracker starts beeping furiously.
Yeah, so they're like, oh shit, this is a trap. And then they start getting sniped by Fennec, who is like an incredible, like awesome long range. Like Mando clocks the gun just from the distance, which is awesome.
Yeah. The Mando gets shot, I think 4 times or something by her.
Dude,
Beskar, man.
Well, and it's like, look, I get it, but
he's literally like the
dude,
Beskar.
He gets hit so much.
It's ridiculous the way he gets shot. Like, he just flipping and they're like blasting him in the back and in the butt. It's great.
Yeah, they flip over. He like runs back and hides behind the dune, and he's like, "Dude, it's this thing. That's the only thing that could be there. She's in the canyon." And he's like, "What are we gonna do?" He's like, "Well, we're gonna wait until nightfall, and then go from there."
Yeah, he's like, you will never survive what the Beskar was like if you have no Beskar.
And then he's like, "All right, watch from the ridge, and I'm gonna take a nap."
Yeah,
So
and
then-
he does. He watches all night, and he goes to wake up the Mando, and the Mando's like out, but he has a helmet on, so you can never tell what the fuck the Mando's doing. If he's just sitting there pensively or what. And so he starts like pretending.
He does the like Doc Holliday, whatever, like flip it. Like he's like flipping his gun around and like aiming it and trying to be all cool. And the guy's like, "Are you done?" He's like, "Yep."
Yeah, exactly.
Which was like the one moment with him where I was like, "Oh, okay." I kind of see that with more time. I wish they had more time, and they could have.
It just lets you know in the context of the story that this guy just doesn't know anything. Like, this is just to show you that this, not only is this guy just like a dill hole whose car is probably more expensive than he deserves, but also that he's like some type of just total scrub lord idiot goofball.
Yeah.
And so they decide to, he's like, it's nighttime, let's do this right now while it's dark. Take this thing. He's like, what the hell is this? And he's like, it's a flare. So we're just gonna like go, and then we're gonna take turns, and hopefully we don't get killed. Let's go.
Yeah, they bum rush her and go full speed on their swoops.
And he's like, you wanted to do this job, bitch. Like, let's go. I'm the one with the Beskar on. You fucked up. Let's go.
Yeah.
This scene is like one of the coolest scenes of the show so far.
It's pretty neat.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Like, literally
They
awesome.
like launch off. There's like some sick swoop stuff. Yeah, they're firing their flares, and she gets like blinded until fuckboy hits a speed bump and fires. He fires it on the ground, and then it doesn't blind her. So she just like straight up shoots.
She nails the
Mando's
Mandalorian
bike,
twice.
and he just goes
Yeah.
like flying.
Nails him twice. Just like she is better than him. She gets him dead to rights. If he wasn't wearing invincible body armor, he would have been mega dead.
Literal plot armor in this one, because it actually ties into the plot.
Yeah, it's literally, well, I mean, it's like literal plot armor that is that good. Like, it's like vibranium level, right?
Yeah. Well, and then the cool thing, because Mando, even when he gets knocked off his thing, he still fires his alternating flare, so the other guy doesn't get bopped, but it allows him to get this slip on her.
Yeah, so Toro pulls up, and they like, she like, it's Ming Na, so it's like, you know, somebody who really knows what they're doing with martial arts. She's awesome. I don't know even how old she is anymore. She looks like she's still 30 years old. I have no idea how old she is.
Yep.
But she does an amazing like fight choreography sequence with him, totally outclasses him, and the only reason that he doesn't die is because right then the Mando like finally catches up and is like, all right, stop fucking around.
That's a great little bit where it's like, thanks for the distraction.
Yeah, he literally is like, yeah, go fuck with her. I'll be there. It's like really funny idea. Then Mando is like, all right, I'll stay here. You go get the dewback so we can both get back because she blew up my bike. And he's like, what? No! And he's like, fine, I'll go get the dewback. Don't let her move. Just shoot her. And literally immediately, she's just like, hey, dumbass, let me trick you by talking to you. And he's like, what? And she basically convinces him to betray the Mando because she tells him about the deal with the Mando, that he's like on the run and that he has this baby and that it's definitely him because of the baby. Like, there's no way to deny it anymore.
And then if she kills him, he not only will get in, but he'll also like get his status.
He'll be a
of being
legend. They keep saying, because
the guy who killed the Mandalorian.
And at this point, I thought he was gonna say, let's team up. She was gonna untie her, and then they were gonna like take down, like she was gonna kill him and take down the Mando or something. But really what happened was he was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And then he kills her right away, just cold-blooded, because he's like, if I untied you, you would totally fucking kill me.
I couldn't believe that. I was like, what, dude?
And that was when I was like, oh shit, this guy really is a fuckboy. This story is gonna end tonight.
that character like had so much more mileage. Having like an elite assassin.
Really disappointed.
I'm bummed. But I think this
Well,
is,
that's luckily every single character in the show is like an elite assassin who can kill everyone. So I think it'll be okay. And now that character,
but Ming-Na Wen's like awesome, and
that character can have comics now, and that character can be a toy now, and that's what this is. You know what I mean?
I would hate that actually if they were like that. Remember that lead assassin who was in a thing for 5 minutes and died? Here's her backstory. I don't want that now. I don't want to know how cool she was.
He definitely just like kills her and leaves, and he's like, thanks for the idea, and he has the swoop, so he takes the swoop and gets back to the garage way before Mando. Mando shows up, and then he drives the dewback.
He dewbacks his way
Yeah, it's like the sun is
Eisley.
down again. It takes him like the whole day to get back. He rolls into the garage, and nobody's around, and turns out Toro Calican, the dumb idiot, has grabbed Peli.
That's not his name. Say his name.
Toro Calican. Fuckboy Majones?
Yay!
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Fuckboy Majones.
Majones? It's a family name.
It's a Star Wars
Majones
name.
is a family.
Majones. It's from Corellia. And actually,
Majones.
he is Corellian, which is hilarious because so is Han Solo. And it's just the opposite of Han Solo character. I love that he went into the same cantina and found the opposite of Han Solo.
It's actually just like Solo from Solo.
It's even worse than Solo from Solo. At least Solo from Solo has like wild Aladdin energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like something redeemable about him.
Right. Like, yeah.
Basically, everybody's a hostage. Baby Yoda and Peli are both hostage. Mando shows up and he's like, hands up, but really what he's doing is he's showing Peli that he has the flare and to be ready to like move with Baby Yoda. So
He diehards him.
Yeah.
He Hans Gruber's
he literally
his
does.
ass.
He Bill
It's great.
Clays him super hard.
Yep.
And basically
Bill
fires
Clay.
the last flare that he had and like fucks everybody up and then just steps to the side and like clips this kid right in the fucking chin. Takes him out. Baby Yoda like drops to the ground and is like, I'm actually fine, don't worry.
He does the most like video game when you successfully know you flashbang somebody in like Counter-Strike and they just start looking where you take a little second just to line up that shot nice and then
Yeah, he just took him right out, which the kid
I actually
definitely deserved.
loved this little bit with Amy Sedaris at the very end when she's like, you're fine. Like, oh, you're scared. It's how I imagine you would treat a thing that you're not sure if it's a kid or a pet. Like, it's somewhere in between where you're like...
Or if it's like a 50-year-old small old man. So question number 1, is Fennec actually dead? Because the very last scene that we get is a scene back in the desert on Fennec's body, and somebody walks up to Fennec and sees her body, and this person, by all accounts, the silhouette looks distinctly Mandalorian.
It's got a cape and it looks like some of the armor is like Mandalorian
I know
armor.
those knee pads, my guys.
I don't want to even say his name because
know
people keep
those knee
saying
pads.
it and I don't want to.
Here's the thing.
It won't be. It can't be. I don't want it to be.
Here's the thing. All right.
Don't invoke
so
it.
this
Don't
is
invoke
why
it.
I said earlier the internet's stupid.
I recognize.
Because what we're obviously hinting at and beating around the bush here is Boba Fett, which is highly unlikely. If they bring back Fett, it is nonsense. If that happens, nonsense.
I would love for him to be recontextualized to something else and not... And
Our great idea that Boba Fett exists
My
forever.
greatest fear is that they're gonna bring him back and then they're gonna have a shootout on that long alleyway in Mos Eisley that they showed.
I don't know. I think it's very possibly Moff Gideon. I think that
I hope it is. Please don't be Boba Fett. I don't think that any of us need that in our lives.
yeah, that's the episode. It is a all right one, but I think out of the 5 we've seen so far, I definitely think it falls in the bottom few, depending on what you think.
I loved it. I don't think it was my bottom one. I don't think... it might be my top one, but I don't think so right now. But I definitely didn't see it as like a down episode for me.
Well, that's it. We got a little information. We got some visions of things to come.
There's only 3
Maybe
left.
Bill Burr next week. Who knows? We are on Bill Burr watch. We are Burr watching right now.
I can't wait to
If
see
you
Bill
are
Burr on
out
this
there.
fucking show. I'm so delighted by that casting.
Next episode, Bill Burr, Mr. Bones, and another famous actor who's in it for 5
And
minutes.
the Force
Tune
Ghost
in.
of Kit Fisto. See you guys next time.
And remember, keep your friends close and let your droids run the bar.
You know, where's the payoff?
Bring the strippers and booze!
We do occasionally talk about video games.
Bring the strippers and booze! Not enough time for video games. Bring the strippers and booze!
Oh, thank God, I don't need pants now.
Hey, JC, what are you doing? Not much. Making a fortune.
It's a production of broadcast.
Yeah, now sing music.
It's a production of broadcast.
Bring the strippers and booze!
It's a production of broadcast.
Now I'm here to ask and answer one simple question.
It's a production of broadcast.
You got